welcome to another video. This is going to be another episode of the Pars Roundup. We've made a signing, and that's James Vincent on loan from Dundee. Obviously, he was here from January last season and performed reasonably well. It was part of the midfield that really cemented a playoff place and turned our season around, really, because he offered the difference in midfield that we didn't have in the first half of the season. Obviously, we had Nat Wedderburn and Dean Shields as the main central midfielders. And when Vincent, Beadland, Craigan came in, the midfield dynamic changed really, and it became more of a mobile midfield, if anything else. As I said, Vincent was a key part of that. I think he played basically every game from when he arrived to when he eventually left at the end of the season. And I believe that the club were actually probably trying to get this as a permanent deal earlier on in the window. But I think probably due to the amount of wages that he's actually on, a loan deal is probably more beneficial for us because it means that we don't have to pay 100% of his wages. I'm pretty sure Dundee will still be paying a percentage of his wages and we'll be paying a smaller dose of that. And that probably suits all parties really, because it means that we don't have to actually be spending a lot of money on a player that could perhaps be sitting on the bench for the majority of the season, because we do have good midfield options now. We've got a good mixture in terms of Joe Thompson can play there, Tom Beadland, James Craigan, at a push, players like Connolly, Higginbotham. Every player in the midfield could technically play in central midfield now, which is a good option to have. It means that we can not solely rely on just two players to fill in throughout the season and not be in the same position that we were in from the start of the season to January, where we only had really two players that could play in central midfield, and even then only Nat was the central midfielder in that pairing. Dean Shields was obviously a kind of forward player that was just moulded into a central midfielder for the majority of his time at Dunfermline. So I'm pleased with the signing. Obviously I was pleased with the Willow Flood signing, but I believe that this is actually a far better signing in terms of just on paper it just looks better. Willow Flood, he's got the experience, etc, but he kind of took the piss a bit, didn't he? And I feel that James Vincent actually wanted to be here. He wanted to play for Dunfermline, he wants first team game time. Willow Flood obviously wanted that, but in the back of his mind he was always wanting the move abroad, which he showed with only being here 9 days and then leaving for Indonesia or wherever it is he is now. Another up to that is that it looks like he won't actually need to be coming back to Dunfermline either, because we now have a decent amount of numbers in the centre of the park. So as I said, I'm pleased with it. I think it'll shore up the midfield for basically the full season. We won't be in a situation like we were last season, and that's the most pleasing part about it for me, is that we won't be looking at it halfway through the season thinking that we didn't bring in enough numbers in a specific area, because that was notably Johnson's biggest fault last season, that he didn't solve that problem early on and really shore up in the midfield where we really needed numbers throughout the season when players were looking a bit tired and leggy, players like Wedderburn and Shields. And I believe that now we've got younger legs and more numbers in general in the central midfield, will actually be far better off. And the only other things to happen isn't really Dunfermline related anymore, because they were released from us, but as I mentioned before, Nat Wedderburn, part of that central midfield pairing, he's went and joined our Fife rivals Wraith Rovers, the wee team, and Jason Talbot's also joined our Fife rivals Cowdenbeath. So I'm really surprised with Jason Talbot. I'm really surprised that his level is now League 2. I would have definitely said if Nat can be in League 1, then Jason Talbot can be. Jason Talbot didn't look out of place last season. It was just unfortunate that when he got sent off and got suspended for a few games, that Lewis Martin came in and performed tremendously and really cemented that place. And he's probably lost out to the fact that Lewis Martin's a younger talent that's a bit more versatile, can offer a bit more option, and Talbot was just he became a bit surplus to requirements. He wasn't the best defender that we had. He was just a good solid performer week in, week out, probably a 6, 7 out of 10 every single week, which is fair enough, but he was let go, and as I said, I'm really surprised that he's went down to that level. But it's a really good signing for Cowdenbeath, and with signings like that, they should be pushing towards the top of League 2 rather than sticking to the very bottom of it. And as I mentioned, the only other player to move on officially was Nat Wedderburn to Wraith Rovers. This was a bit of a kind of surprise. I mean, he's been training with clubs like Arbroath and probably a few other kind of bottom end Championship, top end League One type teams, but he's chosen Wraith Rovers. Obviously, he lived in Dunfermline. It's a pretty close route to Dunfermline, so maybe that was the pull with that move. But it's a good move for Wraith Rovers again. Obviously, you'll never forget that moment where he was shrugging off about 3 Wraith Rovers players. I wish him all the best though. I wish him and Talbot all the best. They were good players for us, good servants, but they've moved on, went on to different things. I'm surprised with Talbot. I'm not as surprised with Wedderburn where he's went, but as I said, good luck to them. And that's it for this video, guys. Cheers for watching. If you did enjoy, please give it a like. Comment down below anything about the signing of James Vincent or the departures of Wedderburn and Talbot to both Cowdenbeath and Wraith Rovers. Just let me know what you think of that. And subscribe for more of this type of content, because I'll be doing it very regularly for the next months, basically. And until the next video, I'll see you then. Cheers, guys.
Oh,